So I'm really excited about this. This is going to be a podcast all about you guys. Okay. So I get so many questions. Okay. So it's going to be a combination of live episodes and pre recorded episodes. Okay. So this is episode 1, it's live. It's really not going to be any different from what we always do, which is just connecting with each other and just having realistic conversations, authentic, chill, relaxed conversations. Okay. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to elaborate on your guys' questions. So that's what the podcast is going to be about. It's all about what you want to know from me. Okay, so I am a certified life coach. I do have a business marketing degree. I used to be a district manager for many, many years. I have been, and currently, actually, technically, am the COO of a charity. I have been a part of so many projects in LA, right? I've just done a lot, right? And hey, I was just thinking about you while taking pics for my cover of my former. Oh, I love that. Well, welcome, welcome. So this is the first episode of the Embody Pursuit live podcast. Okay, so I'm not really sure how this is going to go. If I'm just going to say the entire, answer the entire question that I'm going to answer, or if I'm going to go back and forth, who knows? Let's just see how it flows, how it goes, right? Like you guys already know how we get down over here. We're very chill, we're very relaxed. But welcome, Sabrine. So I was like, why don't I start doing like an elaborative question and answer instead of just like always going through the comments and answering people's questions? I'm like, there's a lot of questions that are very repetitive. And I'm like, why don't I just do a live in-depth video about it? Okay. So this is the question. I have hundreds of questions. So there's going to be hundreds of episodes. We're going to see where this goes. But this is going to just be focused on one question. And then at the end, we can answer any other questions that you guys have in the chat. It could provoke the next episode. So, you're going to want to make sure to put in your questions. But, and also it's going to highlight you, right? So this is a question. It's from Christy Smith, 2552. Okay, Christy Smith, 2552. Okay, so check out her channel. All right. And she's actually been dropping a lot of great questions that have been very thought-provoking. So I want to just highlight her. I appreciate your time in asking these questions. It really does keep the community going. It keeps the tribe, just kind of like talking. It keeps us just being able to exchange creativity with each other. So I really, really appreciate that. I feel like there's like something on the wall. Yeah. Okay. It's okay. I'll get that later. All right. So the question is, I would love to hear about your journey in corporate. How long did it take you to move up to district manager? Okay. So there's a very, very specific reason why I want to talk about this question in depth. All right. This is going to unlock some things for a lot of you guys. And this has a lot to do with the journey of discovering your purpose and realizing that you can get paid to do what you love. Okay. So I'm going to go into depth about my journey here. So let me just take a little sippy sip. This is my Big Impact Energy mug. I'm super excited about it. These are the mugs, right? It's a really, really beautiful, nice porcelain mug. And I have linked them in here. But I want you guys to remember every morning that you make a big impact. Like, forget the numbers, forget the analytics, forget what people are saying. The fact that you're trying to grow your YouTube channel, or you're trying to get the body of your dreams, or you are putting in effort to move up in your job, like whatever it is, you are making a big impact, period. Okay. So let the numbers fall as they may, let the comments fall as they may. It's all that's not the determining factor. The determining factor is you making a ripple and an impact on when you look at yourself in the mirror. Okay. So that's number one. Number two is that you posting that first video, you don't know, you guys, like you really don't understand how you can truly impact somebody. Like, because of your word, because of you speaking from your heart and just posting the video, you could have massively changed somebody's life and you'll never know, right? Like that's kind of like the interesting thing about it. Unless they comment and say it, you'll really never know. Some people like to stay completely anonymous. You'll never know. So I'm telling you, like, I can imagine the people that comment on my channel and say, wow, Ciana, you are, every time I'm ready to record your live stream, I can't miss these. Thanks, Everyday Muscle. Everyone check out Everyday Muscle. He has an awesome page as well. So, for every comment that I see about how I've like impacted somebody, number one, it's not really me, it's God, okay? Inspiring me to actually have the confidence to speak, actually press the on button, right? Like some days I don't want to talk, some days I don't want to get on live stream, but there's just something nudging at me, right? So that's number one. Number two is I'm like, if people had enough time and courage to actually type out a public comment, I can only imagine all the other comments that people really have at the level of like how I've really impacted them or how the message, not really me, but the message really impacted them, but they just didn't say anything. So I'm telling you, post the video, go live, stutter, be nervous, be shaky, forget what you're going to say in the middle of your sentence. Like just do it and it will continue to not only grow your channel, but you'll just get better, right? So that's literally not possible, Diaz. Okay, so the question is, I'm going to repeat it again and then we're going to go in and you guys can comment. You guys can definitely, add, any like tips and, kind of like discuss things with each other, but I'm going to go ahead and go into depth. So if you do put a question in here, I'm not ignoring you, but again, this is the first Embody Pursuit official podcast, okay? Natural, we're flowing with it. But this is a question, and I'm going to elaborate on this question for about 10 minutes. And then if you're still here, you're more than welcome to ask another question at the end. So I will have a Q&A at the end of this 10 to 15 minute storytelling, okay? So I'm going to drop some things I probably haven't said before, so you're going to want to definitely listen up, okay? So again, I'm going to say the question and I'm going to go into the story. So Christy Smith, this was encourage, you're the first person to encourage me to do this. So thank you for asking this question. So Christy Smith 2552, check out her channel. I would love to hear about your journey in corporate. How long did it take you to move up to district manager? Okay. So I graduated college and just like everybody else was super confused and had no idea what to do. All right. In college, I had a blast. I loved college. I had some terrible things happen to me in college and I had some epic, amazing things happen to me in college. It just was like a roller coaster, right? As it should be, right? It's part of life. And the whole time, I never actually thought about what I was going to do when I graduated at 22 years old. I literally was like, I don't know. It was like, you kind of always get told what your next steps are. Okay, you're going to go to junior high now. You're going to go to high school now. You're going to go to college now. And then like once I graduated, I literally was like, what do I do? Right. And I was on a dance team. I was working at a restaurant. I was working at Hooters. I, was a part of clubs in college. I just loved it. And all of that came to an abrupt stop. Like right when I graduated, you would think like, you graduated college now, life is going to start and it's going to be amazing. And for me, it was the opposite. Like for me, I had a rush of confusion. I had a rush of feeling extra lost because again, you get your schedule handed to you, right? You're going to class every day. You are, I have my dance team practices. I had the games, I was a professional dancer for Arena 2 football. And, so I would be excited about performing at the games. I would, have so much fun at work. At working at Hooters, it's like a sports kind of restaurant. So much fun. We had a lot of regulars. Like it just was like my schedule was always made for me. And when I graduated, all of it stopped, right? So you guys, literally what I did was, it was so irresponsible, but I don't know. I just felt the calling of God. Like I just moved to LA and I am originally from, like I was born in LA. I went to Fresno State and I was like, I just want to move back to LA. Like I just have always loved it and just, I want to move back. So I literally packed up with, I don't even know how much money I had in my bank account. Like it was like, it was an amount that I should not have been driving and just trying to figure it out in LA. Like it was a really, maybe it was like $500. Like I'm not even kidding. I graduated college, had no savings because, I had no responsibility with working and saving money and working. And, I was working at a restaurant. So it's not like I had a 401k that like it was kind of saving money for me in the background. Um, I didn't ask my parents about saving. They didn't really talk to me about saving. It just was like, I graduated and I was like, okay, I don't have any debt. This is awesome. But like, I also don't have barely any money in my bank account. So like, okay, I'm not going to work at Hooters for the rest of my life. So like, I'm supposed to get like a real job now, but I don't know what I want to do. So I knew for a fact I didn't want to live in Fresno anymore. So I moved to LA. And at the time, I had a really ambitious roommate that I lived with as well. She was like, I want to move to LA too. So we moved to LA together. We found an apartment really quickly. And I had a car, she had a car. So we were like set, like as far as like we had a roof over our head, we had transportation, and we like had money for like ramen noodles or whatever, right? I'm exaggerating, but like very, very tiny amount of like money left over for food and gas. So I literally, you guys, I printed out, and this is going to lead up to my experience in corporate. So just stick with me. I printed out a resume. This is when you did not find a job on online, on LinkedIn, on Monster or jobs.com. Those websites didn't exist. If they did, they weren't like accessible. Okay. So I literally printed out like 10 resumes at Kinko's, and I just drove to a mall and I just randomly picked a mall. Like I didn't even know like if it was like a safe mall. It ended up being a safe mall, but I just was like, okay, what's the nearest mall near me? Drove to it, and I literally walked around and was just looking for, like, I just was looking to drop off my resume. So this is how I know this is how you know when God, this is a quick little sidebar, but this is a key. This is a key. So you're going to want to take this. You know when you heard God correctly to move, when things keep aligning. Okay, let me say that again. Yeah, literally. You know when it was the right, like you heard God correctly to move in a certain direction, when things are not like, it's not like a tug and a pull, right? If you feel like you were nudged to go in a direction and it just seems like it's not working out, or it just seems like torture, or it seems like things keep falling apart, you might want to like sit in silence and recalibrate. So like I said, I graduated college. I literally packed up what I had in the car that I had, found an apartment immediately. So that was number one. I was able to find an apartment immediately. I had a decent running car. And then I just randomly picked the nearest mall to me and dropped off resumes, right? As I was walking around the mall, okay, this is wild. Stick with me, stick with me. As I was walking around the mall, this other young girl, maybe 2 years older than me, was looking for people to hire. Okay? She was recruiting people. It's like it was part of the job that I ended up working at. Part of the job was to go out in the mall and recruit people to work for this company. So I'm walking around with resumes, right? About to drop, like, like, okay, let me see. And I was mainly kind of looking at restaurants because I had, I was used to tips. Like you can make a lot of money in tips, plus like the minimum wage or whatever. So I was like, okay, if I could just at least get a restaurant job, I'll work full time, get my, just kind of like get settled for 3 months and then start looking for a real job, right? That was kind of like my plan. So she bumps into me. She goes, hi. And I was like, hi. She's like, hi, I work for, X, Y, and Z company. Are you from here? And I was like, oh, yeah. She's like, oh, like, are you just kind of shopping around the mall? And I was like, oh, I'm actually looking for jobs. She goes, and then she looked at me like with the craziest looking, she goes, oh my God. And I'll tell you why she looked at me so crazy later. Well, shortly. So she goes, oh my God, well, I'm actually looking to hire managers. Like, she's like, do you have a degree? And I said, yeah, I literally just graduated 2 months ago. She's like, I'm looking for people with college degrees. We're hiring managers. And I was like, oh, well, perfect. Literally, I had an interview that next day, interviewed, got hired on the spot, and I got my roommate a job as well. So it was just like God orchestrated that. I was like, oh, at the time I wasn't like God's orchestrating me, but now that I look back, that was 18 years ago now, or however long ago now, maybe 16, maybe more closer to 16 years, but that was a long time ago. But now when I look back, I'm like, I, I've always had really high intuition, and now I can pinpoint like when I did a good job listening to my intuition, listening to the nudge, and really it's just God saying, yeah, like I'm talking to you, like, yep, go in that direction, okay? So I get hired at this job. The girl that hired me, right? So the girl that recruited me, the woman, was a young lady. She was praying the weekend before. She goes, I've spent my time here. Because she had worked for the company for like 2 years. And she was like, this is not really, I don't feel called. Christy Smith, hello. Yes, I am. I'm answering your question. You provoked this first podcast. So shout out to Christy. Definitely check out her channel. So I don't know if you just hopped on, but you're going to want to like watch this on the replay and listen to the beginning of this. So the girl that hired me, like the weekend before, she prayed to God. Literally, she was very, very like into her faith, Christian faith. She was like, I am done. Like, I know I'm feeling the power to move on, but like, I know you're going to make this easy for me. So like, just, God help me here, you're like, direct me where you want to go. And then a couple days later, here I come walking down the mall with literally resumes. And she was just so shocked because she's like, I wish I would have recorded myself. I literally prayed because she didn't want to leave the job and not replace her because she really liked the team. So she's like, God, I want to leave. I know you're nudging me to leave, and I know you're going to make this easy, but like, I know you're going to pick my replacement. And I literally we bumped into each other. I came right around the corner. As she's looking for people, I'm looking for a job. Even as I'm saying it, I'm like, I like don't even think I've ever told that part of the story before. I really wish I could have, like, this is back when we didn't really have like video recording so easily. Like, we had video on our phone, I think, like our flip phones or whatever, but it wasn't as like easy as it is now, right? So I really wish I would have like recorded that time period. But so yeah, so she prayed about it. I pop up. So I'm at this company now. I'm at this company, and I love who I'm working with. It was this particular job. I'm not going to say what corporation it is, but it was like, it was female. It was more female based, right? Like this particular, so the company had different sectors in it. This particular sector was more female based. They mainly hired females for this aspect of the job because it was mainly selling like feminine products, like, lingerie, cute outfits for like loungewear, perfume, really, really beautiful, like blankets, like just very feminine stuff, right? And so I love who I'm working with, right? It's a group full of women. And in the stock room, there was men too. Men were allowed to get hired, but it was just mainly for, because we would like talk to the customers about bras and stuff like that. So anyways, so I'm at this job, and I quickly realize how much I don't like it. Like, I'm like, God, I like everything was so easy, but like, I love the human beings I get to interact with. We have amazing conversations, but like, I literally hate what I'm doing. Like, this is just not it, right? And I'm 22 years old, you guys, 22. I'm like, okay, I'm happy I'm here. I'm in LA. Like, but like the job was so demanding that like I didn't really have time to explore even more, right? Like explore, maybe I want to get in the entertainment business, right? Maybe I wanted to, like, I just wanted to explore kind of everything, right? And I didn't have the energy. I didn't have the energy, which I think now that I look back, I think it was kind of God protecting me from the entertainment industry, but that's like a whole nother podcast. So I just was so exhausted from work. I would work 8, 9, 10, 11 hours sometimes, right? All of us did, right? And then we would go to a happy hour and complain. And that kind of became my life, my entire 20s. So 22, 23, 24, 25, 26. Okay. So I'm at this company. I, for whatever reason, there was just favor on me. I think I was excellent at, and this is just a quick, another key. If you want to move up in a company very quickly, if you, there's two keys here I'm going to drop. Emotional intelligence, have an extremely high emotional intelligence bar, and I'll explain what that is in a second. And number two is being able to connect. So you can have the best numbers. You can be the best at being able to analyze the data, the business, right? You can be the best at maybe getting the most money for the week, right? Generating the most sales. If you don't know how to conduct yourself when it comes to building a relationship with your coworkers and your boss, you're going to get cut, right? If you could be the person, the coworker that can regurgitate every single, aspect of the, like, know your numbers, like the reporting, like companies reporting. But if you don't know how to get along with people, you'll get cut. Okay. So that's number one, in that department. Number two is when the going gets tough, if you don't know how to keep calm under pressure, if you do not know how to stay poised and composed under pressure, you will get cut. A lot of people don't understand that they're not getting moved up in the company because they have a bad attitude. And they're thinking, well, people should just accept me for me. This is my personality. And just like really like aggressive and like overbearing and just kind of like this like dominant personality where yes, there's going to be, you have to know when to flow. Like there is times where you're going to need to pop into your dominant self, right? Kind of like this authoritative energy. And then there's going to be times where you need to retreat and be more of a follower, right? So like in order to be a leader, you have to really learn how to be a follower first. So you kind of like need to like flow within the energy of different rooms that you're in and know how to read the room, right? And I've seen, I got moved up really, really quickly. So I became a district manager like right before I turned 26. So mind you, I got hired at 22. I was already a district manager by 26 years old. Okay. It took me 4 years to become a district manager. Okay. And other people, it took them double that. So on average, it was maybe like 6, 7, 8 years on average, but mine was 4. And when I look back, I was really excellent at like, if my boss gave me feedback, even though I didn't like it or agree half of the time, I would swallow it and just like be kind of obedient to it and just even show that I was trying. Even if I didn't like the feedback, even if I didn't agree with it, I would say, okay, I don't really think that my boss hates me. So there's something that she sees in me. Let me just go ahead and like not be ready to like combat this. And let me just take the feedback, right? Let me just take the feedback and just say, okay, I will work on that, right? Most of the time, what most people do is they'll be like, no. Well, let me tell you why this happened. Well, no. That like you're not seeing it from my side, right? And yes, there is going to be moments and times where you do need to speak up for yourself. I'm not saying don't speak up for yourself, but I was really good at just kind of like almost like, when like there's people in the army. I've never been in the army, but I kind of feel like based on just like interviews I've seen of people in the army, you kind of like can't combat the general, right? Or like who the lieutenant. I'm not really sure the ranking order, the pecking order, but like if you are on the first like just like this like a rookie, you're not over here questioning and saying things to the general, right? Even if you don't really agree, or maybe the general really doesn't understand the backstory as to why you were late, or maybe you're going through something, like they don't care. It's just you do what I told you to do. End of story, right? So I kind of had that energy at 22 years old. And that really worked for me. And again, it wasn't like I was being pushed over on. I just said, okay, let me just do what she said, and then she'll be happy that I listened, and then I'll get like favor put on me. Like I didn't think about this then, but like that's what was happening. It was like I was respecting her coaching. I was respecting the way that she was like being a boss, even if I didn't agree. And so because of that, when maybe I wasn't like the smartest in an area, or maybe I wasn't like the top candidate, I became the top candidate because I was like, I had a lot of emotional intelligence, right? And if I did maybe have a disagree, like something I disagreed on, I would be very particular with the way that I would say it. Not like, no, you like, not like you didn't do your job to really like dig into why this happened with me. It was more like, I see what you're saying. I'm going to definitely work on that. And I would, let me just think of like a real scenario. Like, what I would do is I would say, like, something like, you know what? I have been 5 minutes late. And, there's some things like personally that are going on. And I really need to get better at that. And I thank you for actually bringing that to my attention. And it's going to be my priority to really, really get better at this. Right. And because I would like kind of like almost like turn it into not like, well, I'm late all the time because I'm going through stuff with my family. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, do you see the difference there? Even though that might have been true, like, even though I might have been late to work for like a real reason, it's like, I just kind of like was like, okay, well, I kind of do need to be more punctual as a young lady anyway, right? So let me just go ahead and take the feedback and like, let me just try to get better at it, right? Like, let me just prioritize my time better. Let me get better at time management when I'm getting ready in the morning. I'm 22, right? I'm 23, right? Like, I just graduated college, like, let me keep it cool. So that was the first wave. So I ended up getting promoted to a bigger location. Okay. And this location, you guys, so I went from being in this environment where I loved the women that I was working with, but the job, like the actual job duties, I didn't like. I didn't enjoy it. But I was like, okay, I'm settled. Like, I'm getting a good paycheck every month. LA is expensive. Like, let me just stay here for a while, right? I just kind of got complacent, which do not do that. You guys, let me just pause really quick. Even if you are 40 and up, 50 and up, 60 and up, I don't care like how old you are. If you're younger than 30, obviously you have a lot of time on your side, but anyone can do this. If you have a goal and something is supposed to be just like a placeholder, let it be a placeholder. Let it be a placeholder. Okay? I should not, like, there's some deeper things I'll get to in later podcasts later on down the road as to why I think I got complacent. But that was not my plan to stay at that company. Okay? But because I was there, I just made the best of it. So I ended up getting moved up to a bigger location. Now, you guys, now I'm in an environment where I do not enjoy the people that I'm working with, and I don't like what I'm doing. And it was a bigger location, and it was busier, and we dealt with a lot of like theft, right? It was in a less safe area. We dealt with a lot of theft. I didn't like who I was working with. I also know there was racism going on, which sucks, but it is what it is. I'm not gonna harp on that, right? Like, it's just part of, I'm like, okay, cool. Like, I just have another badge, on my jacket, right? Of like how to deal with like these difficult situations. I was, belittled. I was all this stuff, right? But let me talk to you about favor. Okay. So, and I don't know, I'm calling it favor. I think, and the reason why I keep referring to favor is more so like some things you kind of are born with, and then some things you can grow into. So I think I was just kind of born with this calm, joyful energy, right? Like, that's just been me as a baby. Like, I was just born that way. So me growing into an adult, I saw where that like that gift of being kind of like this naturally joyful, always seeing things really positive, always seeing things with the glass half, full. Oh, kind of like looking at life through a lens of optimism. Even though something was really, really bad, I would then just figure out the good side. I don't know where I learned that from, and I just can only, say that it was something I was born with. So in this particular, this next tier, right? So now from 22 to 23, I'm in this bigger location, in this corporate job, right? And the boss that I now have inside the store with me. So now I'm an assistant manager. There's a store manager above me. So I went from MIT, which is a manager in training, to an assistant manager. And then in the assistant manager level, there's 3 versions of assistant managers, right? So there's kind of like little miniature tiers in that. So I move up in the assistant manager little roles, and I get moved to a bigger store, right? Where I'm still an assistant manager, but like it's a bigger location, so I have more responsibility, more to handle, more to take on, right? So I struggled at that store. It was designed different. Again, the demographic was a really tough set of customers to deal with. A lot of theft. And the managers like just didn't like, they just didn't like me like that. Right? So everything was just opposite. What did I do? I stayed poised. I stayed composed. Remember the emotional intelligence. I did not say, everybody hates me here. There's racism going on in this store. I feel like I'm being da 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 da. I just, everything that was going against me, I just was like, okay, how can I turn this into power? Like, you guys, I would get the shifts where I would get off at like 11 at night and have to be back at the store at 7 a.m. It wasn't even legal. Like that's not even 8 hours, right? I'm in between positions right now, but I look forward to utilizing your coaching package to walk me through the next opportunity. Yes. Okay. And we're going to dive deeper into that. And I hope if you're not able to stay on this whole time, Christy, again, watch this on the replay because I'm going to dig more into this. So, okay, this is all kind of leading up into where I'm at right now to where in 2025, I'm talking to all of you guys, all 23 of you all right now, and making money from home. Okay. So now I'm in a position where everything's against me, right? But I stayed poised, I stayed composed, and I just was like, let me just still do my best because even though I have everything against me, if I then go down to the level that they're saying that I am, it's only going to hurt me, right? I'm going to get worse at my gifts. I'm going to lose all the skill that I learned at my prior location. That's all going to go down. So let me just like keep building, right? So let me, I always say like shoulders back, head up, like chin up, right? Shoulders back, chin up, confidence, right? Like I would just go in there with everything against me and just still with a smile on my face. Like, okay, like, what's on the game plan for today, right? So my district manager, okay? So there's the assistant manager, store manager, and a district manager. The district manager saw my behavior, okay? Now, mind you, this store manager had been at this store for like 7 years. Like something crazy, like something super long. 7 years, right? So he's not going nowhere. And he actually wanted to, but because of his poor emotional intelligence, always having an attitude, kind of like this bro mentality of like everything, I'm God, like kind of like this God complex, right? And just kind of like this tough guy, like, and that works in some scenarios, but like you can go too far, right? And so I'm telling you, you're going to want to stick with me. It gets juicier. So I get the worst shifts and I'm already being like, literally like working under a crazy amount of stress. I lost like a ton of weight during that time. It was crazy. There was stuff personally going on in my life and the job. Like it was just like a tough time on my little 23-year-old body. Okay. So the district manager is like, you know what? I think that, Ciana keeps showing up. She's peppy. She's doing her best. Let me put her at this other location. So now I get moved because of my good attitude, right? Just because I'm a team player, right? It's like, let's try her over here. Thrived at the other location, right? So now this is my third store, okay? Same level of like big, like it is busy, but like just like a different vibe. And so I go to this is my third store now. Killing it, right? Killing the game. Everybody loves me. I love everybody. Again, I don't like what I'm doing, but like I go into a team where I really enjoy the people I'm working with again, right? I'm getting results for the store. The store is improving. We're getting like the upper level, like the regional managers and the directors coming and visiting and being like, who is that girl? She's doing awesome, right? So because of that, right, I get moved to become a store manager now. So this is my fourth store. Now I'm 24 years old. I'm 24 now at this point. So my fourth store, from 22 years old to 24 years old, I'm at my fourth location, which is my job promotion to my first time being a store manager, right? So now I have the whole team under me, okay? The whole team under me. I don't want to say the location because they need to cut me a check. Like I don't want to say the corporate location, but I'm at this. I've actually said it before. If you watch some of my older videos, you'd really have to dig for it, but I have said it once before. Okay, so I'm at this fourth location. I'm a store manager now, killing the, like I'm just like on fire at this store. I have, again, because now my gifts are able to show, right? Because I know how to connect with people and I have a lot of emotional intelligence, right? So I'm telling you, those are the two biggest things that I would say. Maybe there's a third one that might pop out here in a second that will come to my mind. But those are the two biggest things: the ability to connect, have interpersonal relationship skills, and high emotional intelligence. Okay. I mean, when people show up to work, the assistant managers that are now under me, they're like, they just love coming to work because I've made it an enjoyable environment. The part-time associates loved coming to work, right? They would bring donuts and candy, and it just was like, that was my most fun at that job that I had during that entire experience. That was like the most fun, where I forgot about not liking the job, like duties. I like kind of forgot about it, and I loved going to that job. I really did. So I'm 24 years old. Now, guess what happens, you guys? Guess what happens? So remember, there was a store manager, now we're on the same level, okay, who did not like me. I felt like there was racism going on, is what it is, like I said. But now we're on the same level now, right? I'm in a little bit smaller of a store, like volume wise, like we don't make as much money as that bigger store, but like we're both under, like both of our boss is the same boss, right? I'm doing an amazing job at this store. I get promoted to a bigger location in LA, a bigger location, right? In a more popular area in LA. So now I'm not necessarily over this person, but like I'm like seen more because I'm in a store that makes like way more millions of dollars a year than this store. Okay. So still in the same, like same level. I now get promoted. So now I'm 25 when I get promoted to that bigger store. Then I get promoted right before I turn 26 years old. So I'm 26 years old and now district manager. So remember, that person that I was working under that did not like me, that was just kind of like anything that was going on bad with the store. It's like, oh, well, Ciana's new. She did it. Or she's not adjusting to the store quick enough. She did it. Or, oh, why does the store look like this? Oh, well, Ciana closed last night. It's her fault. Like the store looks like crap because of her fault. No, the store was being managed horribly. But like, again, I just kept my shoulders back, head up. You don't want people to see you sweating, right? You don't want people to see you like really upset or like really wanting to like punch a hole in the wall. You just want to stay poised and composed and like have a lot of grace, right? So that ability worked for me. So now I'm a district manager. Now I'm working. Oh, now I'm promoted over that person at 20. This other guy was like 4 or 5 years older than me. Now I'm over him. Now we were in different districts at that point, but I'm a district manager. He's still a store manager in another location, right? So I go from, oh yeah, and technically I wasn't over him, but I gotta, so again, this is the pecking order. So manager in training, assistant manager, there's different levels within the assistant manager. I go to store manager, okay? And technically you're supposed to go from store manager to just like another slightly up, a slightly bigger store. I should have had like a board with me, a slightly bigger store, but I went from store manager to general manager. I went above, right? I skipped a step. I skipped a couple steps a few times. So then now I'm this district manager, right? Now I have 7 locations that I'm managing. 7 at 26 years old. Okay? At 26 years old. Now, I now know why God had me go through that experience. And I'm going to answer your guys' questions. I'm almost done with the story. In about 5 minutes, we can open it up for questions. So if you have, when I say I'm ready for questions, repeat your question. If you were saying questions in here in the chat, repeat it and I'll answer it. So I'm now a district manager. I'm 26 years old. I'm in LA. Again, I'm like, gosh, I don't like what I'm doing, but like I do love like connecting with people. God was working on me to become a leader. Okay? God was working on me to be like get better at becoming a leader, get better at speaking. You guys, I would run conference calls at 25 years old, 24, 25, 26 years old with, several 10, 12 people on there, right? I didn't know that it was developing me to have a YouTube channel. I didn't know that. You guys, YouTube wasn't a thing when I was 24, 25, 26. Like YouTube, I think existed, but like people would literally put up like them fishing, like they would put up like the most random, weirdest videos. Like they would go to the zoo and film themselves at the zoo. Like it wasn't like you can create an entire $1 million business on YouTube. It wasn't like that. So I didn't know that my voice was being developed to train and develop other people, right? I didn't know I was being coached and kind of stepping into more of a confident role of like being a leader, right? I didn't know that being able to think quickly on my feet I was learning how to do that at that time. I didn't know I didn't know that dealing with a lot of pressure, like a lot of pressure and having to stay poised and composed. I didn't know I was learning all that, right? Like now I can look back and be like, oh, I was learning this. I mean, it was probably like 50 things you got. I could write a whole book and I probably will on what I was being pruned and nurtured and growing in. Like this whole tree, I was like being birthed into like where I'm at now. And then now is even like another birthing to like another level in 10 years from now, right? That I'll be talking about this time period. So I say all that to say, if you hate where you're at in life, like literally, and maybe not hate, but you're just like, I don't feel fulfilled. This is just, something is just not right. I don't feel like I am doing like what I'm being called to do. I feel like I have more talents. I feel like I'm stuck. I feel like um, I just feel like I'm like missing out on like my calling, right? You are where you're at, okay, for several reasons, but one of them could very well be that God needs you to be there because he needs you to level up in some areas, okay? Number two, you need to get better at when you're off work, utilizing that time when you're off work. How many of you guys, let's be real, because I did it. Let's be real. When you get off work, stuffing your face with a bunch of food, sugary, fattening food, going to happy hours, going home to your spouse and stuffing your guys' selves with food, going home playing with, and not even playing with your kids, to be honest, probably letting them just be on the iPad while you're just scrolling on Instagram or on YouTube, being like, I wish I could be doing something else with my life, right? You have to literally, and you'll know that feeling. Like, this is why when people hit rock bottom, they don't want other people to hit rock bottom because it's hard to get out of the rock bottom. Okay. I've hit rock bottom before. You don't have to go there to do what I'm about to tell you. You have to be so angry and so frustrated and so like feeling like you're like stuck in like mud and you just want to like get out of this mud, like muddy, heavy feeling. You have to feel so ready to break out of it that you're willing to like level up in your discipline, in your focus, in your concentration, in you saying no to people, in you saying no to yourself. Okay? So what I finally did was I quit that job. I quit. So you would think it seemed like I like was moving up so quickly. I stayed at that job from 26 to 30, right? So I was a district manager for 4 years. That's, a good chunk of time of being a district manager. So I learned a lot at that job. Okay. So pretty much a whole decade of my life of working in like corporate types of settings, right? I needed to do it. I didn't have to do it that way, but I now know why God like allowed me to just like stay in that position. But I quit. So what I did was when I was at that job, I was like, this is not my life. I gained 30 pounds, you guys, during that time. In my later 20s, I gained 30 pounds. I was so stressed. Even though I was showing up to work and no one would have seen the stress on me, other than maybe noticing I was gaining weight, but I like, you know what it was? It was like internal. Like I just was like, there's just something else. Like I didn't like, I wasn't born to like talk about the numbers and like the reporting of like these kinds of sales. Like I'm showing up to work, rushing to work, almost getting into car accidents, right? Not really, I'm exaggerating, but like rushing, getting up, going to work and like showing up and like exerting all this energy to like get the numbers and get the highest amount of money every week for this company, right? For this corporation, right? And I was just like I was literally running on fumes and really had nothing to show for it. Like I really had nothing to show for it until now, but at the time it wasn't like I owned a home, right? I was spending my money on like clothes and going out to eat all the time. Like it was like I would spend my money to de-stress, right? Like it was like this like revolving door of like I didn't have the energy to learn about how to save my money, right? I didn't, you said give you the 30 pounds. I lost it and never gained it back. That's why I have an ebook, right? Um, but you guys, actually, that reminds me, I need to put something in the chat for you guys. But you guys, I literally was so stressed out. My skin was breaking out. My hair was falling out. I gained 30 pounds and I was just kind of getting through life by like having fun after work and having fun on the weekends. I didn't have time to like search for a job. I just was so overwhelmed and so overworked. And one day I just was like, Ciana, you can either keep complaining about this job or you can just do something about it. And my frustration, it got to that level where I was like, I'm quitting. I just quit. I quit, right? And people were like, Ciana, are you sure? Like, are you okay? Like, are you just like really, stressed out? Like, what's going on? And I was like, no, I'm quitting. I know that this is not meant for me. I know that I'm not supposed to spend 12 hours of my life a day working for this like human that I don't even barely know. Like this like president of the company. I'm like busting my butt, getting to work, gaining weight, can't even barely like, you know, thankfully I just was healthy in my 20s, but like can't even like barely go to the dentist. You know what I mean? Like just barely do like normal things like to keep up with your health and going to the gym but running on fumes at the gym, right? And I was still gaining weight while going to the gym. Like it was just crazy. Because my hormones were all over the place. My hormones, my cortisol was all over the place. Like it was just wild. So I was like, you know what? I'm quitting. So what I did was I planned 6 months out. I severely cut back on my expenses. So I went down to just literally like food and like that was it. Cause you guys, I had a company gas card. I had a company cell phone. So I didn't have to pay for car insurance. I got a company car. I got a company gas card. I had a corporate card. So on some days I got per diem. I would get free hotels, free dinners. I was, of course, getting my normal paycheck, right? So people were like, Ciana, what are you doing? Like, you're 26 years, like, or at the time I quit when I was 30, but like, what are you doing, right? And I was like, I don't care. The calling is just bigger than this like package. And like sometimes like you gotta just go with it. Like you gotta follow the nudge even when people don't understand. Like sometimes your journey is just for you. Like sometimes like the nudge is just for you to be following that nudge. And that's why a lot of like successful people say don't really talk about what your plans are, what you got going on, because it's for you. It's if God wanted it for everybody, it would be for everybody, but God had it for you, right? That's why they don't like the vision that you're seeing, they don't see the vision. So, of course, out of like, being someone that cares for you, your coworkers, your family, they're like, "Are you sure? Like maybe you might want to like just kind of take a vacation and relax." And you're like, "No, no, 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 I don't care." So you guys, I quit that job. I saved up money. I didn't go to happy hours anymore. I didn't go out to dinner. I didn't buy unnecessary clothes. I didn't travel anywhere. Like for 6 months, I just like saved up a bunch of money, right? And I was already saving like a little bit before that. Plus I had more for my 401k. Plus I knew worst case scenario. And this is, I know that like not everybody has this luxury, but I knew in the back of my mind, like if I just was I was never going to be on the street, right? Like I knew I could always move back in like with my dad or my mom or you know what I'm saying? So I knew like I was never going to be on the street. um so I quit. I picked a date 6 months out and I quit. When I quit, I woke up that Monday and I was like, it felt weird. Like it felt like I was like about to get on, like pick up my cell phone for a conference call, right? To get on a conference call. And I was like, oh, I don't have to like be on a conference call. Like I was so, my nervous system was wired to that job, right? So it was like my body wanted to just jolt and like start to do, those things. So you guys, that was when my next journey started up to like where I am now. Okay. It was just a journey of just a bunch of like experiences and trying new things and like failing a lot and like just like going for it and like just looking ridiculous and being cringy, but then having epic moments. And, during that time, I traveled to Egypt. I traveled to different, I went to Jamaica. I went to the Bahamas. I traveled to London. I traveled to China. I traveled to Canada. I traveled to tons of different states in the United States, right? Like I've been to like 30 something, no, maybe not 30. Maybe I need to sit down actually and write it out. But like I traveled a lot during that time, right? And I just like lived. I messed up. I had epic moments. I made an idiot of myself. I made an amazing look of myself. Like I just did, like I just lived, right? And again, because I had like what I learned from that corporate job was discipline. So there was a level of discipline that was wired into me to where like I wasn't just like going completely off the rocker, right? But there was some definitely irresponsible moments quitting that job, right? Like I should have definitely, no, everything happened how it should have, because I have amazing stories now to tell you guys and teach from, right? But like I didn't have to make as many mistakes, right? So I get to teach you guys the mistakes so you guys don't have to make them. So now, leading up to what I'm doing now, okay? Leading up to what I'm doing now, I now make money from doing what I love. And I remember 8 years ago, I literally was like, they were like, so you quit your job? Like, what do you want to be doing? Like, let me take a little sip of my drink real quick. Again, these are the Big Impact Energy mugs. You are making a big impact no matter what. It has like a cool little risenness to it. Really nice porcelain. It's tagged on the live. But someone was like, you guys, my answer was so ridiculous. Let me tell you my answer. They were like, what is your dream? Like, what did you want to do when you were a kid and all this stuff? And I have it written down, actually. Maybe I'll show you guys one time. I have it in my room. I wrote down that I wanted to be an actress when I was younger, right? But I don't think I really wanted to be an actress. I don't think because YouTube didn't exist yet. I saw myself on a screen. I think when I was little, because when I was younger, but that's not the answer that I said. I was like, oh, well, when I was younger, I wrote down being an actress, but I actually wish I could do this, which I'm going to tell you in a second. So when I was younger, what did we have? Saved by the Bell. We had Family Matters. We had Sister Sister. We had Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. And I saw myself in all those girls, right? Like in Sister Sister. I didn't say I want to be an actress. I think I just like wanted to be on a screen like them. It was like I liked I thought when I was little that they were on the screen being themselves. Like, you know, when you're little, you don't know that like they're actors really. Does that make sense? Like when you're little, like when you're 7, 8, 9, like you don't really know that they're actors. You're just like, oh, like you love, you know, Lisa from Family Matters, or you love like Tia and Tamara from like Sister, right? Like you're just like, oh, these I'm following these girls' lives. Like you're thinking it's kind of real. Does that make sense? So when I was little, I wrote down being an actress, but I don't think I really wanted to be like an actress. I think I just wanted to be myself on a screen. Is that sound bizarre? It's kind of bizarre, right? YouTube didn't exist then. So now I quit and they're like, "Well, what would be your idea?" And I was like, "Well, when I was little, I wrote down being an actress, but I don't want to be an actress. If I'm ever going to be in a movie, it would be because someone said, "Hey, can you be yourself in this movie?" Like it would be like I wouldn't be like having a ton of lines. I wouldn't be like this character, right? Like I don't want to be an actress. But I said I want to get paid for being myself. And they were like, "Well, fat chance on that." You know, like they were like, "Good luck." Like, you know, they're like, "I don't understand how you would do that." Like, I mean, what do you mean? Like, how do you get paid for being yourself? And I'm like, "I don't really know." But like if you're just asking me, that's what I really wish I could do. Like that would I just want to get paid for like being myself. So I'm going on this journey, right? Like I'm traveling, I'm doing all these jobs in LA. Like I end up just doing all these different opportunities, like 20 different opportunities of like working with the charity that I'm still affiliated with, right? Like getting paid to exist. Exactly, Christy. Exactly. That was what I said. I was like, I just want to get paid like for existing, like just being me. Like I don't want to have to like show up and be a manager. I don't want to show up to something and be an actress. Like I don't want to have to check into something. I just want to be Ciana Singh and get paid and like see money in my bank account for that, you know? And they're like, everyone I would say that to, I'm like, I'm just going to stop saying it because it sounds ridiculous and it doesn't make, like, I don't even know what I mean by that. So this is when like life coaching wasn't really a thing. Like people like did life coaching, but you didn't really like, it wasn't huge even. It's booming now in the last like 3 years, but life coaches existed 8 to 10 years ago, but not how it is now, right? So this whole time, guys, me being a mentor, me being a life coach, me being a a purpose-driven facilitator, me being a leader, me being a develop coaching and developer, right? Like all that, I was being prepped for all of that what I'm doing now. Do you see what I'm saying? So like I wouldn't have known that 20 years ago. Like now I can actually articulate like what was happening to me. So now YouTube's getting bigger. People are making money on YouTube. People are turning YouTube into businesses. People aren't just like going on there talking about like Amazon reviews, even though people make thousands of dollars doing Amazon reviews. I actually am an Amazon affiliate as well. And I make money every single month from that. If anyone wants to check out my stores, I do have Amazon store. I barely talk about my Amazon stores, but they're down in the description. So people are like curating life coaching and courses and all this stuff, right? And I'm like, that's yeah, like that's it. Like that's like kind of like what I feel like I'm talking about, right? Like my own life experiences, I want to like get paid for them, but like I know that they really work, right? So, and I remember I wrote down that I was like and I gave it to God, right? Like not like it was manifesty, but now I know it was more like me making declarations, like declaring a thing like with God, right? Like I make X amount of money every month selling products that are high value and actually change people's lives, whether it's on a small scale or a big scale. And I sell it to the planet, to the whole world, right? Oh yeah, you're right, son of Jesus. And we're all sons and daughters of Jesus Christ, so I love that name. When you tag products, by all this is just a quick sidebar. If anyone is monetized on YouTube right now, utilize the tagged products. YouTube is partnered with Walmart, Target, hundreds of different stores. And so if you have products that you love, you can make like a short, like do a short YouTube short and tag the product. So there's that. I'm currently making money doing that too. Like when you guys see me talking, I just did one with mane and tail, and I'll probably make a few sales from that, right? It's really, really cool how they design the program. So essentially, I couldn't have articulated it then, but now that's what I'm doing. I'm getting paid for adding value. Like I want to pour into people, and like because I'm pouring into people, God is blessing me with like more resources so I can keep pouring into people. I didn't know what job title is that, right? Like, what do you say that is? Like, oh, I'm a pourer. Like, I'm a light giver. Like, I pour light into people. Like, I ignite people's light. Like, what is a job title? So I finally just got rid of the pressure of that. I said, I don't even care. So someone could call me a YouTuber. I don't care. Technically, I am a YouTuber. Someone could call me a life coach. Cool. I do have a life coach certification. Someone can call me a motivator and inspirer. Perfect. Right? Like I have like tons of titles. Like, so if you are wondering, if you feel like you have to have a title, if you feel like, cause that was a big thing too, guys. Like a lot of times people are too scared to quit their job because it's like your identity is associated with that job, right? So what do I do if I quit? I won't be a district manager anymore, right? Like district manager, it's like I'm an upper level management, right? Like it comes with a certain like status of like, yeah, like I'm in corporate and I go to corporate meetings and I'm part of like big conversations and we have high level conversations about business and all this stuff, right? Like it was like this identity that I had to like get rid of, right? And so, and I'll answer questions in just a second. It'll be open forum. We could just do a whole like open forum on questions. But I was like, I don't care about the identity anymore. Like I just don't. Like I'm not, the identity of a district manager is not fulfilling me. So you guys, this was a time period where like I had to deal with people looking at me really bizarre. Like when I quit, they're like, "Well, what do you do?" And I'm like, "Oh, I'm just like, working different gig jobs." And they're like, "Oh, that's cool. You like graduated college and you're like in your 30s now and you're like working gig jobs." Okay. Another person, "What do you do?" "Oh, I'm a caregiver for my grandmother," because God also was orchestrating me having more time because I went on a whole journey being a full-time caregiver for my grandmother for 6 years. So that's a whole nother story. I'm not going to get into that here. I have a whole YouTube channel about it, a whole TikTok about it. Like I go into a whole other detail about that. But when I would tell people, you guys, this is how rude people are. I would tell people, "Oh yeah, I'm a caregiver." Because sometimes I would just be exhausted from telling people. Because in LA, it's like, well, what do you do? What do you do? Are you in the industry? Like, what do you do? And I'd be like, "I'm a caregiver." And they're like, even though I knew I was building this, even though I knew I was making money online, even though I really was a caregiver, but I was also building on the side. That's why you got to stay silent, right? Because I learned the hard way too with that when I was like, "Oh yeah, I'm like working on my YouTube channel," and they're like, "Oh my God, everyone wants to be a YouTuber now." And that can get to you. That can get to you. Because you're like, "Yeah, I guess I am kind of like doing that." But you have a bigger calling, you have a bigger purpose for why you're doing it. You're not just like doing it to like, "Hi guys, welcome to my YouTube channel and this is where we talk about all things beauty." Like I was like, that's not even, no hate on those channels, but it's like there was an era where that's what it was kind of known for. Like, "Oh, or do you do beauty? Do you do makeup?" And I'm like, "No, I just talk about like life topics." And they're like, that's why you got to stay silent with what you got going on, because people cannot, not everybody, some people might get it. Like you might talk to one or two individuals that they're like, I see you, like keep going. I see you. Most of the time, guys, people don't see your calling on you. They just don't. And they still don't. Even though I still have, like I have a channel, like I'm here with some of the comments, I've impacted people still don't get it. And now I just don't care, right? Before, it's like when you're growing and you're like, "Oh, okay, well, I guess I am going to be like, I guess I'm trying to be a YouTuber. Well, I guess, yeah, that kind of does sound lame." Or, "You know what, let me just kind of do something." And you start spiraling down. No, 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 no. You got to always stay grounded and always go back to neutral and always go back to that vision that God played. Because God is pulling you toward the vision. Like the vision is there. You don't know what it's going to take to get there. All the embarrassing moments, all the cringy moments, all the people hating on you, all the people, the trolls, even maybe not trolls, but people that are just like criticizing you and like sizing you up and like analyzing every single thing that you do. God doesn't tell you about that part, right? Like God's like working on you to like get more strength in learning how to get your, I always call it alligator skin, just get your alligator skin, right? But that's why I call this channel Embody Pursuit. We're always in pursuit of embodying that next level. We don't stop embodying. We're going to always embody our next level, and then we pursue the next top level. Like it doesn't end, right? We're always permanent students of life. So if you're vibing with that, you're going to stay on this channel. If you're not, this channel is not going to, people are going to pop in this channel and pop out, right? So that is like, I didn't know how to verbalize that. Now, 2 years ago, I finally was able to like put it to my trademark, right? Embody Pursuit, right? And I talk about how I got to that. Maybe I'll talk about it again in a more structured way like this, but I do talk about how I arrived to Embody Pursuit, my Embody Pursuit trademark in other videos, if anyone's interested in that. So now I have digital. So not only do I have digital products now, which there's one free one right here, if you want a reset guide for fitness and health, and how I lost that 30 pounds that I gained from being super stressed in my late 20s, how I lost 30 pounds and I never gained it back. And now I'm headed for the next decade that starts with the number 4. Okay. So it's all in that book. I wouldn't have wrote it if I was at a corporate job that I hated. So I make sales from that. I wake up every morning and see sales from that. I took something from my mind, you guys. It baffles my mind all the time. I put something from from my mind, being myself, doing something I actually did, I actually went through. I took it from my mind and put it into something tangible. Okay? Put it into something tangible, and now I make sales from this every day. I wake up and see money in my account for being myself, for solving a problem. And because I solved it for myself, I'm now solving it for other people that need it. Not everybody needs this, right? But for the people that need it, where they're like, I just need to like make losing weight, not just like a challenge and then I gain it all back. I want to make it a lifestyle. So I took it, put it up, packaged it up. Now I want you to be able to have this too. There's no reason why every single, and I know some of you guys do have your own ebooks, which I love, love, love. If you don't, in 2025, I don't know why you don't have your own ebook. I don't know why you don't have your own ebook. I guarantee you guys, you're going to want to show up on YouTube more if you had your own ebook. Hear me when I say this. And for some people, they're going to be like, oh, so you just want to be on YouTube to make money? Well, I think we're all adults here, and yeah, we have bills, right? So like, there is like, I did this for free for many years. Don't get it twisted. I was on YouTube for free for 4 years before I finally got monetized. Okay. So there's that, but I was making sales before that. Right. But as far as like showing up and talking for 1 hour, 2 hours, sometimes 3 hours on end, that was free. Like that was just me, like I guess essentially like community service, right? And using the portal of YouTube. But it does feel great when you arrive to a season where you're like, you know what? I do know how to solve problems. I do have degrees, and I have achievements, and I have certificates, and I have things that, I can stand on some things to be able to make a product. You don't even need to stand on nothing. I'm giving you permission right now. You could be 20 years old, still in college, and have an ebook. You could be 57 years old and have an ebook and have no credentials. You can be 15 years old. Okay. Every single, like a 15-year-old is going to want to learn about something about high school. Like a junior higher is going to want to learn from someone in high school. They're not going to want to learn from someone like me. That's like way past the high school years, right? Like if you're in your 30s, talk about what you would have done differently in your 20s. If you're in your 40s, talk about what you would have done differently in your 20s and 30s. If you're in your 70s, talk about what you would have done in your whole young life and midlife. Now you're in your senior life. what you would have done during your midlife differently, which is ebooks that I'm looking for because I'm headed that way, right? So everybody has several volumes of ebooks, several blueprint. You can turn this into a blueprint. You can turn this into a guide. You can turn this into a step by step, right? You could turn this into a map, whatever you want to do. So I'm actually in the middle. You're going to want to put on your bell notifications. I will be announcing when I'm dropping my course on how to make your own ebook. If you don't have your own website, not only will you have your own ebook, but you'll have your own website by the end of the course. And you'll be able to do the course if you choose to in one day. You could break it up over a week, but you could technically do the whole course, just block out a whole Saturday from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. Okay? You'll have your ebook and your website. Okay? And if you already have a website, you'll just be able to have another one. You guys, this website that I use for where I sell my digital products, they have it all frameworked out for you to have coaching, your own digital products, your own memberships. I like to use my memberships here on YouTube. I'd rather not grab you guys from here and pull you guys all the way over to my memberships. I just have my my mailing list that I encourage you to get on. But if anyone, by the way, wants to become a member, we dive even deeper than this on my membership. So become a member. But it's a really cool website, and you get to have your own domain. And so Embody Pursuit, that's my website. And I don't have to worry about plugging in all, like doing the plugins of like how I do a plugin for building a course. I'll be able to build a course. You have your own, you can have your own university. You could create your own little miniature college, which is what I'm doing. I'm like slowly building mine, and you can do it too. So be on the lookout for that. If I go kind of MIA these next like couple weeks, it's because I'm building my course out, and I have 2 courses going on. So it's going to be one to teach you how to create your own ebook, and you'll have your own website, and then you can blast off and do your own course. And I'm going to this is being turned into a little miniature course, because not only women have asked me questions since they've gotten this, so I've been able to answer those questions. They've still gotten results. And then I've also learned even more since I created this. I created this like about 2 to 3 years ago now. So I'm going to turn this into a course. So this will be the course textbook for it. It's actually in a digital form. So you could just download it, and no one gets an actual hard copy. You have it in a digital form. This is kind of like a prop. But this will be the textbook for that course on how to lose 30 pounds and never gain it back, right? And it'll be me talking. It'll essentially be like an audio, like I'll be reading it, and then after each pillar, I'm going to go into depth about it and teach about it. So I'm turning this into a course. So not only guys, you guys can do that too. You guys can create your ebook, and then you can create a course, and you'll have a course book, and then you can also sell. So if someone's like, no, I just want the textbook, cool. I just want the digital book, cool. Or if you want more, if you want to dive deeper, I also have a course teaching this. So I'm doing both of those, right? If you want a hard copy, you have to get them face-to-face signed. Yeah, maybe I might do something like that one day. You guys, this was $30. This little thing, this 44-page ebook, I was like, there's no way I'm gonna make somebody buy this for 30. Like, there's just no, I can't even do that ethically. I would not buy this for $30. Like, this is a nice, now a course where I go into depth, and like it's a 4-module, 1 hour, whole teaching of this. That's different. But like, when you guys click the link, you'll see how much this is, right? Like it's very realistically priced. I kind of like to over deliver, and not, a lot of people like overprice things, and then they open it up and they're like, really? I do it the opposite. So that's kind of like my vibe. But so yeah, be ready. Be ready for that. So now opening up questions. We'll have about 15 minutes for questions. Any questions you have about what I discussed, what we talked about. This is the first official episode. So thanks to Christy Smith. You've been asking a lot of really good questions in my comments, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to start to turn this into a podcast. So this is my first podcast. It's really no different from my lives, but it was a little bit more structured, a little more centered around one topic. But if you guys want me to do a whole episode, a whole podcast episode on a topic, comment down in this particular live video on the replay, or you can comment all the time. And if you become a member, I see the comments first. Members get first priority. So if I miss your comment, it's probably because I get hundreds of comments now, guys, on my YouTube. Plus, you guys, I have 3 TikToks, I have 3 Instagrams, I have a Snapchat, and I have a Threads, and I have Facebook. I have a lot going on. So if you want me to see your comment or your question, become a member. That's just, you don't have to become a member. I'm more than likely going to see it. But in case I don't, you might want to become a member. So